Hi, I'd like to discuss an idea about sound. This is something that I work on with all of my students, and it's something that is it's the most important thing. Our sound is our calling card. It's our moniker. It's how people identify our playing, and it is our voice. And we want to have the best sound possible. And so many people are chasing this idea of this best sound, and they're looking at their gear. They're having off days. They're not sounding the way that they want to sound, and they're looking and say, I need a new trumpet, I need a new mouthpiece, or oh, my chops today, or this. And I need you to get beyond that. We need to get past that, because that's not what our sound is. That's not where our sound comes from. I ask all of my students, I say to them, where does our sound come from? And they say our air, our lungs, our mouthpiece, our trumpet. They give me every single answer they can think of. And I tell them no for every single one of them, because that's not where our sound comes from. Our sound comes from our imagination. It's the same as if you went to a painter and you said, where did this painter's painting come from? Did it come from the brush? No. Did it come from the paint? No. Did it come from the canvas? No. The paint, the canvas, the brush, these are all tools that the painter uses in order to express the idea that they had in their mind. They had this image in their mind, and the better painters have a better image. They have a better imagination. They can see the detail. They can see a fine detail. They can see all the shadows, everything that maybe someone who's not as great of a painter, who doesn't have as good of imagination, they could have incredible technique, but if they have no imagination, they're never going to paint as good of a painting, because it's just not there. That's not what the painting isn't technique. And our playing isn't technique either. Our playing is our sound and these musical concepts. And in order to develop our sound, we need to develop our imagination. We need to understand that if we want a better sound, it starts here. It doesn't start here. It's not long tones. It's not some brand new exercise. It's not a new book. It's not a new mouthpiece. It's not anything physical. It's not your chops. If we want a sound to come out of our horn, we've got to expect that sound to come out of our horn. We need to know the sound that we want in such vivid detail that there is no other option but for that sound to come out of our horn. We need to imagine the sound that we want to create before we create any sound. Once you've played a note on the trumpet, once a sound comes out of this horn, once the vibrations have entered the mouthpiece, they can't be altered. It's happened already. The sound has happened. If you are trying to improve your sound by playing a note, listening to that note, and then trying to improve it, you're working backwards. You need to hear the note in your head first, and then try and create that note. And if it's not what you want, you need to hear it better. And then you need to try and create that. If you're working off of something that's already happened, then you're trying to change something that is unchangeable. It's something that's already existing in the room. It's vibrations that have happened that you cannot grasp, that you cannot control. So think about that. Think about it. It's maybe a new concept for some of you. It's abstract, perhaps. It's so important. If we want to have our own voice, if we want to be able to really have a sound that we can be identified by, then it's very important to understand this concept. So improve your imagination. Your sound is only limited by the capacity of your imagination. So think about that. Meditate on it, whatever you need to do. Get some albums, get some recordings, listen to them, and try and understand why you like the sounds that you like. try and understand what components of those sounds you like. Try and understand how that sound is heard in your mind. And if you can reconcile that with yourself, if you can say to yourself, I understand this sound, I'm familiar with this sound enough. You want to be so familiar that it's like your favorite dish. It's like something that your mom or your grandmother or your dad or whomever, your favorite restaurant, something you've had 100 times. Something that as soon as you think about it, as soon as someone mentions, hey, your mom makes the best blank, and then you think about it immediately in your mind. You can taste it. You know what it tastes like. You know how hot it is. You know what it smells like. You know the texture. You know every single bit about it. You couldn't forget it if you tried. And it's in your mind ingrained so deeply that if you just think about it, you can practically taste it. And this is the strength of image that you need in your mind for your sound. You need to have this idea in your mind that your sound is just so strong that's your sound. You can identify with every part of it. And use your imagination. Your imagination is your strongest tool. Use it.